So speaking of the sales team and sales process, I mean, walk me through what it is you guys are looking for. Like, I mean, obviously, as I've talked to some aggregators, let me kind of preface this a little bit. Like, I mean, I talked to some aggregators. It seems like some are looking for different characteristics or qualities than others, and trying to build things that kind of like all work together in terms of maybe like they're food brands, or they have some type of consumability, or there's been some interesting things I've seen. Certainly they're looking for solid businesses with good financials and stuff like that. That seems to be pretty constant. Yeah. But is there any things that kind of set you guys apart for the types of businesses you're looking for?
Well, we're relatively category agnostic. I would say just like almost every other aggregator, we don't want cell phone cases or fidget spinners or, heavily seasonal products. I think that's everybody would say that. I don't think anybody's out there trying to buy, DVD players, stuff like that. But, mostly category agnostic. I would say if it's a strong brand, we're interested. Generally, they're doing, they have about $1 million in LTM EBITDA. And then, from there, they can scale larger. We're interested, but I think we scrutinize each category differently. So instead of saying like we're totally not interested in a category, we look for different things. As an example, right? Apparel, really high returns sometimes. So it's not a no, but we want to look at it and say, kind of look at the brand individually. And I think, you'll hear me say discipline probably a lot on the calls. I think we're not just trying to acquire every brand because Thrasio or Perch are trying to buy it, right? If it doesn't fit into our portfolio, we can pass.
Gotcha. So you mentioned cell phone cases specifically. Why no cell phone cases?
Anything where like a new generation every year, is tough for us. Anything like every year there's something new. It's
the new model.
Not the best for us. You got to launch it. It just adds multiple layers to the strategy.
It seems like a nightmare business, but it also seems like you maybe get to a certain point where you legitimately have a brand, and people, that every third generation when they upgrade their phone or whatever it is, actually go back and buy the same one. But that's hard to find. There's only a few brands I can think of in that space that actually have achieved that. So
right. When I was at FeedVisor, I closed a huge $100 million. They were selling across a couple of brands, but $100 million company on Amazon, and we were selling them advertising, and they had a 435% ACoS. And when I told them that, they were like, "Oh, I thought it would have been higher." And I was like, "Oh, 400% ACoS. Like, how are you?" But they were making $100 million and they're making money. I think on repeat purchases and products, but it was I was shocked. I'd never seen something that high. But I think when I think about acquiring a company like that, that would be a hard no.
Yeah, 100%. I can definitely agree with that. The other thing you mentioned was the $100 million EBITDA over the trailing 12 months.
1 million. Sorry,
1 million. I just said 100 million. Sorry, I was thinking and talking at the same time. Never a good thing.
Yeah.
$1 million EBITDA over the trailing 12 months. Why that number? I mean, is it if it's a $500,000 or 100,000? I mean, I'll answer the question. You tell me if I'm right or wrong. I do this. Seems like a lot, but what I've discovered is that it's basically like the same amount of work, no matter what. If you're taking over 100,000, a million, 5 million, you still got to put the same amount of effort into like absorbing it and learning it and taking it over.
Sure.
And I guess it means it's just not worth the size that you are and the staff that you have. Is that kind of just like the minimum to make it worth your while?
Yeah, I mean, it's a good question. I think we will look at a brand if we see huge potential that's 800,000 EBITDA, 750,000. I think the idea though is we want a track record of growth, and usually a brand that's above $1 million has grown for a couple of years, and we can say that they didn't just ride the COVID wind, get to a certain point, and then it's just generally the brands that are that size have gotten there for a reason, right? They have stuff in place. They might have review mode as well. And that kind of just fits in perfectly to the way we've been targeting companies.
Gotcha. Makes a lot of sense.